Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the June monthly meeting of the Shrewsbury Council on Aging. My name is Alex Roman. I'm chair of the board. We adhere to the open meetings law and follow Robert's Rules of Order. The meetings are streamed by the Shrewsbury Media Connection and may be also found through the town website. Council on Aging staff in attendance are Director
Holly Luke.
Casey Bogan, Assistant Director.
Renee D'Argento, Outreach Coordinator.
and my fellow board members.
Bruce Scala.
Pamela Penna.
John DeHaze.
Good morning, Larry Mayon.
Good morning, and thank you all for coming. All right, the first agenda item is to review and act on the May 2025 minutes. Were there any corrections to the minutes? Motion to accept?
Motion to approve.
Yep. And a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
So I don't know why that number 3 is, but we just do go right to the
Yeah, I
review.
thought so.
I know.
Okay.
Yep.
I already did number 3.
Yep.
Number 4, agenda item, review and act on financial reports.
Sure, so just like always, we'll kind of look at the short financials, and then if there are any questions on the long financials or the spreadsheet that we normally share, please stop me. So for the general fund, and again, the general fund is the fund that is voted on at town meeting. You can see that for our operating expenses, we are at $4,964.40. You can see that the total highlighted says $55,453.84. So that combines the rest of the salary for the remainder of this month, the remainder of the operating balance that we have, and those are combined there. So then moving on, we have the Elder Affairs Grant, otherwise known as the State Formula Grant, where we have $22,945.15. So what will happen with the remainder of that balance towards the end of the rest of this month, because it's the end of the fiscal year 25, that will roll over to fiscal year 26. We're allowed to roll over those monies now. So that has already been included into our FY26 budget, so we understand that that's there. The gift fund is also known as our donation fund. So if the community, businesses, anybody donates any monies to us, that goes into the gift fund, and the gift fund is broken up into other funds, one being the Senior Center Garden Fund, which presently has $11,630.92. You can see that the Council on Aging gift fund is at $20,769.28. Our food pantry has $50. So the total gift fund with all of those together is $49,240.51. You can see in that one line, the WRTA COA contract, that's $16,000. I just want to let everybody know that, are you up? Mm-hmm. You're off again? Oh, okay, sorry, is the agreement that we have for the WRTA to pay our full-time van drivers. So that's what's remaining in the rest of that agreement. Then at the very bottom of that same page is the revolving fund. The revolving fund is the account that we utilize to take care of our 2 COA transportation vans, and that is $5,767.56. With any of that, does any board members have any questions? Okay, not hearing any, we'll move on.
Okay. Policies and procedures, Senior Center policies and procedures. You've received
Well,
copies
nope,
of these?
so
Oops.
you skipped something here.
Oh, I did. I skipped a whole lot.
Yeah, so you're gonna go right to the happenings, and then the first one is here.
Yes, under Director's Report. Senior
Correct.
Center and Council on Aging happenings. Friends of Senior Center update. I just have one thing to kind of update the board on. All the board members received or should have received an email regarding the relationship, the future relationship with the Friends. Does the board have any questions or concerns, or
Okay.
hearing none? All right, we'll move on. FY '26 goals, and I think I saw something.
Nope, you still
in-
skipped one. So we're on senior center policies and procedures.
Oh, yeah. Okay, these we've talked about before. This is.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments on that?
So
These were
the,
updated a couple years ago.
yep, so we created these a few years ago. I want to say maybe even 4 years ago. And I like to make sure that the policies and procedures are always updated, if we have to make any amendments or anything like that. So I thought where we were ending a fiscal year, starting a new fiscal year, I wanted to share that with the board since you are new board members. And if there was any feedback, any questions, any suggestions, that we can make the edits to, so we can have those new edits to you for the August meeting and go from there. Did anybody
Okay.
have any questions on those? Do they look okay?
Okay, hearing none? Moving along, you must be saving it for some of these other exciting items. FY '26 goals, and that is something you gave us.
Yes. So we talked about them briefly at the last meeting, but I'm super excited about both of these goals moving into the FY '26. I'm looking forward to making some programs that align with both of these goals. So just to give a little bit of feedback, so the department has the 2 goals, and one of them for people at home watching is the Senior Spotlight, Inform, Engage, and Empower. So basically what that is moving forward from FY '26, moving onward, my staff and I will make ourselves readily available outside of the monthly meeting, but in addition for questions and answers at the senior center, so we can kind of talk to people hands-on what's going on right now, and if people have questions regarding anything that we do, whether it's any one of our 4 categories of programs, nutrition, outreach, or transportation, or something brand new, we'll add that into our daily happenings over at the senior center. In addition to that, one of the things that became apparent to myself and the staff was we put on all of these wonderful programs, right? But we know that there are people that are working. We know that there are people that are homebound. So to share the happenings, those programs, the resources that we have, we're going to start recording them with Mark Serra and the rest of his connection team. So we can start playing those on the YouTube channels, having those on the YouTube channels, on our website, social media. We can send those to people like directly to their email so they can do things at home. To really broaden the engagement that we offer. Since we're doing it, we want to share everything that we're doing. So that's part of the Senior Spotlight program, as well as continuing with the trainings for the volunteers that work within our senior center. We want to make sure that we're spotlighting them in a way where they're going to shine the best. And in order to do that, we know that we want to establish some trainings. So some of the trainings include like Casey's dementia-friendly informational sessions. We want to put like especially our receptionists in real-life scenarios, so we can play out scenarios that we think that work well, and sometimes the scenarios that we see that don't work well, and get really everybody's feedback. So our customer service improves over the next fiscal year. So that's that first goal. For the second goal, we have the multicultural festive celebrations, the unity and diversity. For this one, what we're really trying to do is educate all of the Shrewsbury community and all of the different cultures that belong to Shrewsbury, and help kind of elaborate on those at the senior center. The only glitch to this one is we need community members to help us out. So we want to make sure if we're sharing a particular culture that we're doing it respectfully, we're doing it correctly. So we are looking for the community to help us out in letting us engage and establish this particular goal. So I wanted to share that with the board, see if anybody has any questions. And like I said, all of the staff members that I have, when they make their individual employee goals, they're all aligned with the staff, with the town department goals, with our COA goals.
I like the KPIs for each of the first goals, just to track performance and success and interest. That's great. Any questions, comments from the board?
I think
I-
it's great, too.
Yeah, I just want to say I really love both goals. I love that they're both so welcoming and inclusive. I mean, they're just so positive. I
Great,
think they're both fantastic.
thank you.
I will talk to India Society of Worcester people, and maybe in end of October, beginning of November, there's a Diwali function.
Is that the one that's at the DCU? I saw something at the DCU
No,
Center.
that is India Day.
Is that something that,
That's a separate thing, that's
Oh.
Independence Day. But Diwali is a function for primarily Hindu, but anybody can join and see if they would like to, do a little demonstration or have get together. We know that they will have one at the India Society of Worcester,
great,
but if they want to do a smaller version of that at the senior center, see what that happens.
I think that would be fantastic. My suggestion to Shangaro is, like, as soon as you get any information, feel free to share it with any one of us, and we'll see where we can go with that, because, yeah, we definitely want to make this happen. I think that's great, because I did see their sign about India Day at the DCU Center, and I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if that was something that would be beneficial to either me or Casey or Renee to show up at.
Sure, I mean, it's free.
Yep,
And, there's a lot of vendors as well.
okay.
Some talent shows, type of
Oh,
dancing and singing.
I,
Yeah.
I'm not
yeah,
going to
it's,
dance.
That's what you say now. But when you get there, it might overcome you and you have to get up and start moving.
Yeah, we used to go pretty often when our kids were little because they took part in those activities. But once they graduated, our attendance became less and less.
Mm.
Now we don't go.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate
It's
that.
obviously a growing population in Shrewsbury. It brings a real vitality to the community. That's great.
Okay.
Okay. Let me look carefully at my agenda here. Anything else on goals?
I don't know if it's the right time to bring that up, but I've been getting some input about the movies, bringing movies to senior center. Before the pandemic, it used to be like a once a month.
Yep.
And it was well attended. And unfortunately, the Wicked, that was in end of March or so, I wasn't able to attend, but I heard that was very well attended.
Yeah,
Very well.
So people would like to see that
okay.
coming,
Yeah, we had done them for a while, and the attendance was low. To be honest, I think one of the reasons Wicked was so popular for a couple of reasons. A, it was a brand-new movie,
Yeah.
right? And then we had a feast galore for everybody, and there was food for, and no matter what you ate, there was food there for you. So I think that was very well received. So I have no problem bringing back movies. What I would like is to hear what people would like to see, because I don't want to choose a wrong movie that isn't of interest, and I know like the new ones are the most popular, so I would welcome anybody that is interested in having a movie, and we would certainly have food again, to give us a couple of suggestions, and we can add those, because I know also in the summertime, having a place to go where it's nice and cool for a couple hours is always nice too. So if, the July newsletter, it has gone to print at this point, but if anybody has any recommendations, maybe that's something we can talk about today.
Yeah.
About in August and September, that would be perfect.
Sure. I mean, I'll bring it up to the people who are suggesting,
Okay,
and if they come up with the names.
yep.
But as far as food is concerned, we don't have to make it so elaborate.
No, it won't be as elaborate as Wicked, but
Yeah.
it'll be
I
something.
mean, just chips and some cookies.
Was Wicked expensive to obtain?
Nope, so I purchased it off of Amazon for like $17, and then I donated it to the library.
Wow.
The new Mission Impossible movie is really popular.
New Mission Impossible. You heard it here, folks, that's what you might be.
Started from number one.
Oh, yeah, we'll watch the whole trilogy, right?
Whole series.
Great.
Okay. Shall we move on?
Sure.
My Senior Center and Hoop Board data, this multicolored sheet and
Yep.
average daily attendance.
Which one do we want to show first?
So we'll show the big one first. So we'll show the one with all of the hoop board and the My Senior Center data. We'll show that one.
This one?
Yep. So, for those at home, we'll just run it down. I'm not gonna go through all of the numbers, but you can see that there are event statistics. So I always talk about the senior center and the Council on Aging Department in 4 different categories. And you can see the nutrition outreach and programs are there. The transportation is on the bottom. We'll get to that in a minute. Does anybody see anything that on this data that's interesting that you want to kind of talk about, share it with some information, some responses with the people at home that are looking at this?
I just noticed it says Tuesday suppers on 31. Seems like a low number. Because usually we get anywhere from 15 to 20 per
Right.
supper.
I'm
Yep.
sorry,
Yeah.
where are you looking, Shangara?
Sorry?
Which number are you looking at?
This is nutrition and the Tuesday suppers,
Oh.
31. So I'm just thinking that if it's the last two weeks, that could be 31.
Right.
But we still have 2 more weeks to go.
Yep.
So it's always, around 50 to 60 people.
So you are correct. So the Tuesday night dinners, our maximum is 25. So 25 people can come. And then, as you know, being a volunteer yourself for the Tuesday night dinners, we do purchase the dinners for our volunteers. So this is a very good example of where we say it's so important for people to check in, right? So it's nice that you notice right off the bat that those numbers are low. That doesn't really show what we're actually doing. So as much as I want everybody to sign in, that doesn't always happen, but I do believe, and Shagara, I can start with you, when people come to the Tuesday night dinners, just remind everybody, did you check in?
Yeah,
Like,
we
that's
do.
very important.
We do.
Yep.
Diane sort of mentions it either before or after.
Yep.
But we can't be there
Yeah,
all the time, so.
The other number that looks very low is the Bollywood dance. I was curious what kind of turnout you got for that.
Casey, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so that one has been pretty low. We've had different people come each week, and she did have a few more that have come, and some people that I think will be coming regularly. So we're really working on getting word of mouth out there, people who are enjoying the program to bring their friends. It has been slow going, but that can be to be expected with new programs. But we're getting there.
I had a wondering about 2 of these, and especially with people listening in from home. The senior challenges on Tuesday and Thursday, that Thursday challenge, 120, that looks fantastic. Can you talk a little bit about what happens at the senior challenge Tuesday and Thursday?
So that is Joe Fish's fitness class. It is very well attended. He comes every Tuesday and Thursday from 1 to 2. And on Thursdays, we do only have side B available. Tuesdays, we have both side A and B available for people to join. So Thursdays, because it's a smaller room, we have to limit it to 35 people. So that is another reason why it's really important for people to check in, because if there's more than 35 people, anyone who didn't check in are the ones that are going to get booted from the class.
Right.
But yes, it's a
That's
fitness
looking
class.
great.
It's kind of like an all-encompassing fitness. There's stretching, there's strength training, mobility, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, he's very popular. He always has been.
Nice.
Yeah, and I do want to mention that, so this particular instructor is actually out for the months of July and August. But what we will be doing in place of him not being there, which again will affect our numbers for sure, we're going to be playing the videos that he has of the things that he's recorded and put on YouTube and things like that, up on the screen. So the classes will still meet, it will just be in video format, and the participants of his class are aware of this already, that we're gonna be doing that.
Okay, that's a
Will
smart
there
thing.
still be someone such as yourself up front to lead this?
No, it will be a projection screen with him up on the projection screen, and you've got to do whatever he's saying on the projection screen. But if you want to come and lead that, absolutely.
Maybe. We'll see.
My second one was really grounded in the goal, the FY26 goal about informing, engaging, and empowering. So I'm noticing office consultations at 315 and phone consultations over 1,000. Can you talk a little bit about those? Like, do you think there's a correlation between what you're going to be preparing proactively and?
Yes, so I do want to give a shout out to Renee. A lot of those numbers are Renee's and our receptionists. So what happens is, even when we get a phone call, somebody doesn't need to come in, but we really try to capture every single communication that we get in the senior center. So between Renee's office visits, her phone calls, her emails, the same with the receptionist, the same with the rest of the staff. Anytime that we have something like that, we do our very best to go into my senior center, find that person that we engaged with, and make sure we put in those notes so we capture the work that we're doing. And like I said, kudos to Renee for much of that percentage that you see.
Nice, thank you.
Impressive. Thanks for studying these numbers.
And I do want to, just so you know, beyond this page, Casey, if you can scroll down to the transportation numbers. So we work with the WRTA. They provide our Monday through Friday transportation for people that are going to medical, doctors, and work. So we've captured them. They are a couple of months behind, as you can see in their numbers, but you also see our COA van trips for our special trips. I do just want to say something because it made me feel so good last week, and Cynthia was there. So one of our special trip participants, when we went to the top of Mount Wachusett Mountain in Princeton, we provided box lunches, we provided lounge chairs, we also provided binoculars for people once they got up there. And one of our residents, who is 92 years old, came back and she's like, I feel like I'm alive again. She's like, I didn't realize how much fun that would be. And she just thanked us from the bottom of her heart. And I was so glad that Cynthia was there, because Cynthia's put so much time and effort into this, as well as Aisha and the rest of the staff. But just knowing that that's exactly what we do. That's why we get together. That's why we're paying for things, because we know that people are of limited income. So it's nice to be able to offer these kind of experiences to provide that quality and quantity of life, right? So I did just want to make sure that we touched upon the transportation trip numbers too, because that's just as important as all of the rest.
By the way, I vouch for that. I was there.
You were
I
there?
went to that trip. The only thing I thought it would be longer, and then we'll have those ski lifts, whatever you call it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but, they were in the middle of repairing,
Oh,
renovating things.
yep,
So, but still, it was very good,
great.
and the weather cooperated.
Who knew? Of course, because it wasn't a Saturday or a Sunday, right?
That's right.
Great.
Any other comments? A lot of data, but this is great stuff.
So we're gonna stay on data for one more time, and we're gonna go to the comparables of the, of all of the years, the 4-year data comparisons. You should have that. So I think it's pretty impressive. I think that some things kind of speak for itself. I do want to, actually, you know what, Casey, you worded this perfect before about the dips in February and stuff, so I'm gonna pass this on to you.
Yeah, so the yellow line is our FY25. So that is from July 1st of 2024 through, I can't remember, it was someday last week that I ran this. I think it was June 3rd that I ran this, and we already have, a pretty high volume of people coming on a day-to-day basis in June. However, there were some dips in November and December. We did have a little bit bit of an influx of flu and COVID at that time, so people were not, attending the senior center as regularly at that point. We always have a little bit of a dip there because of the holidays and the cold weather, and again, flu season, COVID, all of that. And then also in February, we had a pretty significant dip, but we believe that that is because we had a couple of Thursdays with some inclement weather. And while we were open, the men's club in particular, they don't present when the schools close or if they have a delay. And there were at least 2 weeks that happened on a Thursday. And we know that our men's club has a large volume of attendance, so we think that that is the dip in February. That is why that happened then. But as you can see in March, it flew right back up, and we've been holding steady with a significant increase ever since. And I think that has a lot to do with the special trips too, because those are ramping up and we're getting a lot more popular there too.
Yeah. This is really impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I could look at it all day.
Well, it's so impressive. And when you look at the average by day per month, I mean, you just see, it's pretty much all year round.
Yeah.
We bring a lot of people here.
do.
Staff brings a lot of people, and the volunteers.
Yeah.
So, that's great.
Yep.
Really good data.
Thank you.
Okay. Outreach, general update.
All right, that's me. Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Renee.
Yeah, so I'll start with the Sensory Garden update. So I've been out for quite a bit over the last, month and a half. And I'm picking up with, doing the details for the bid so that we can go out to bid for the Sensory Garden in July. I should have that put together by the end of June, but it'll probably need to be reviewed in order to put out the bid advertising and all that sort of stuff, make sure that it looks right, because I've not done that before, so I want to make sure that that it complies with whatever town departments or whatever regulations for it to
So
go
you're
out.
coordinating on that with the town procurement folks?
I've got to coordinate with them, so that's what I'm going to do. So right now, as Holly said, we have a little over $11,000. However, that doesn't reflect the $10,000 that the formula grant is providing through the Council on Aging, and then we're also waiting for whether we get the grants that we've applied for with the MCOA. And that we should hear by the third week of June, whether that comes through. But as far as we have, and plus the Council on Aging Board's gift fund, $10,000, which is very generous, that we recently got, that should get us on our way pretty well, even if we don't get the grant money. So. The other thing, so we have some programs going on that I want to give you an update on. So on the on services for SNAP, for food assistance, because of budget concerns with the state, they had reduced the HIP money. That's the Healthy Incentives Program that gives people on their SNAP card extra fruits and vegetables, produce from local farms each month. And they don't roll over, but typically for a single person, it was $20, a family of two, $40, and then upward to $60 for a higher family amount. The state had reduced it to $20 a month for all. Well, recently, with all the lobbying that's been going on with trying to get that money back for services of all kinds, they increased that to $40. So people, will at least, starting July 1st, that 20 will be for 40 for all households who are on SNAP. So that'll be a help. And, going right into the food pantry, the food pantry has, keeps growing unbelievably. So from the start of the fiscal year last year to the end of the year before Jen came on, we had 89 households signed up and 439 visits. But now from January 1st through today, we have 123 households and 821 visits. So the need is really great, and it's going to be growing. We don't know what, the federal government is going to provide, for the next season for fuel assistance and all of those other household expenses that people are seeing increases in. So we expect that this is going to keep growing, unfortunately.
I have a question, and I guess I should have asked it with the financials, but I noticed in the financials in May and June, there was a fairly large expense for an outside storage to some kind of called Eagle Leasing for the food pantry. What is
Yeah. So the Council on Aging is leasing a shed, a so-called shed. It's about 14 by 10, I believe, and it's in back of the senior center. Where we purchased an extra refrigerator and freezer to have on hand because we expect with the growth in visitation, what Jen is doing with, raising donations, as well as we're going to be starting with the Boston area gleaners. They're going to be providing 12 banana boxes a week of fresh produce starting mid-July. And she's also picking up at Wegmans something like 10 or 12 banana boxes a week. So we need that extra storage at the moment. And it is kind of a temporary thing until the town figures out what they want to do to provide a food pantry for the town, I guess. So I'm not on the details on that, but it is there for our use for now. Yeah.
Yep, and if I can just add, those expenses for that storage unit as well as the refrigerator is not an expense to the COA department. Those are from funds from the town manager's office, left over for the ARPA funds that were left for nutrition in particular.
Okay, that was my other half of the
That's
question,
great.
where the money was coming from, because it's almost $1,000 a
Right,
month. so-
right, yep, yep, we're not paying that.
Yeah, and if you didn't know this already, Jan Andrade's pay as a food pantry coordinator is also coming from the leftover ARPA funds for 3 years.
Thank you.
Not for 3 years.
Oh, for
Nope, just for 1 year.
Oh.
And that's actually not out of, that's not out of the ARPA funds, that's a different source. That was a $75,000 different source that the town had.
I'm sorry for the-
Left over, that's okay. So that's where her salary will be coming from. And her salary is essentially paid up until like the last month of FY '26, in which that last month will be then taken from the formula grant. Then it will be rolled into the general fund moving forward for FY '27.
Yeah. So we continue on, which is great. So we're still doing Coffee with a Cop each month. And last month we had it at the police station, which is really fun. It's a little bit different there because we have it in the education room. So there are desks, for learning, and it's not as much as a gathering of around a table, but people like to go there. It's a little bit different, and this next month it will be back at the senior center. Also, we've been doing the cultural meals, and you may have noticed when we had the statistics up there, typically we have been getting anywhere from 30 to 35, 40 people attending the meals. And that kind of was consistent on May 6th. We had 35. And then on May 20th, we had 15 people who partook in the meal. And we don't know why that number is down. But, potentially, these are very popular. People come from out of town. We also have our own residents. There's a lot of graduations going on. I don't expect that it was for any any negative reason. I'm sure that there were other things going on, and that's probably why. But I'd like to find out, what happened there, just to understand it. We will be having programs. FISCO, the Friends of Indian Seniors, are going to periodically do educational programs inside Room B in coordination with that, starting from 11 to 11:30. before the meal, and also as part of my FY26 goals, I'll be coordinating some of that as well. So hopefully, and we'll probably get an increase in numbers from that, I imagine. Let's see what else. So on June 17th, and continuing with fraud and scam education, we have the Avoiding Fraud on Your Bank Accounts, a Santander representative who's doing that. He's been presenting monthly to people in our senior center conference room, and I think those are pretty valuable to keep updated on what's going on with, fraud on people's bank accounts. The other thing we are revamping the Are You OK program. So typically when somebody has a concern for a senior and a family member calls and would like to, have weekly check-ins, or a senior might call and would like that. We have only a couple of volunteers right now, and we want to try to ramp that up a bit. We know that there's a need out there, but we're adjusting it to be a friendly companion program, because what I found coming back after COVID, when a lot of people were getting called, they dropped off. They said, I really am okay now. And that's really not what it's about. It's about, creating a relationship, a socialization, seeing what the needs are for resources and services and that sort of thing. So we're looking for volunteers as well as people who would like to participate and receive these weekly calls or visits. The other thing we're opening up to is if a volunteer would like to help a senior go accompany them to medical appointments. Many times they either don't have a ride, or they need to be accompanied because they're undergoing a procedure and can't drive home or something like that. So we're looking for volunteers who might be willing to do that as well. And we're advertising for that. So hopefully we'll have people who would like to be called and volunteers to come up.
Yep, and I just want to elaborate on that too. So we have many people, we have 23 spots available on our senior tax work-off program. And those volunteers do have to do 133 hours. That's a lot of hours for volunteers to do. So one of the things that we're suggesting to some people that are looking to get some more hours in to make sure that they complete them is to be part of the Friendly Companion program. And again, you don't have to do all three of those things that Renee just mentioned. You can do one of them. I think it's also important to mention that if people do go to people's homes, prior to any of our volunteers going to a home, Renee would do a home check first, and do an intake form just to make sure that that space is safe and it's the place that we want to send volunteers to. So I do want to just make sure that people understand. We will be creating a memorandum of understanding between the COA department and the volunteers, so they understand what is being requested of them, and so that they understand how we're keeping them safe and things like that.
That's right. And of course, it will all be by mutual agreement between the participant and the volunteer as to how they want to interact, and how much time that they might want to spend, during a call or during a visit or anything like that. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
That's a lot, as usual. That's a big demand for all those programs, really. Okay. Interage Alliance programs, Yahoo update?
I'm going to give that to Casey.
Yep, so we have our Interage Alliance umbrella youth volunteer program that also encompasses the Yahoo program, the Young Adults Helping Out Others. We did do our spring season from mid-April into mid-May. Unfortunately, the weather has not cooperated at all. So while we had 10 residents that had signed up to get their yard cleaned up in the spring, only 4 were able to be visited because we just had to keep canceling because of the rain. But we are looking to partner with another group, the RISE group, that may have more flexibility and that can get them some skills. We're also having an open house for our Interage Alliance group and as well as our Yahoo group at the end of July. So it's Tuesday, July 29th at 5 p.m. It'll be a good opportunity for youth volunteers. So our youth volunteers are from grades 6 through 12, so middle school and high school students. And they can come and kind of learn what the volunteer opportunities are, meet the kids that are already on the Interage Alliance board, and see what the program is all about, and hopefully get involved, and hopefully we can get some more volunteers as well. And we encourage parents to come as well. And yeah,
Open house is a great idea.
yeah.
Kids in. No, it's so good.
Thank you.
Before we leave programs, I do just want to mention one thing, and I was able to update Pam, and unfortunately, we had to act quick. So New Hampshire has this Sunflower Festival that's happening next month, and of course, as everybody knows, our logo is the sunflower. So we are renting a coach bus with a bathroom.
With a bathroom.
With a bathroom. Yes. We try to do that anytime we're doing a trip over an hour, but, so it does have a bathroom. There are 30 seats available. It is free to anybody, but what we are going to do is follow the way we normally do our special trips. So anybody that registers would still pay the $10, and once you show up, you'll get your $10 back. We are going to send one of our part-time drivers on the van, so that way that person can make sure everybody's on and off the van. And if they have any questions, there's a staff representative there with them. We're also going to put a little spin on it, again, because it's our logo. We're going to have a little contest entitled with it that, people can send us or share it on our Facebook page. And those photos that have the most likes on our Facebook page and who tags us will receive a gift certificate to Danielson Florist here in the center of town. So we're super excited to be able to do that. We're also going to pay for the $6 charge to come in. So really, there won't be an expense to anybody that goes unless they want to eat at their cafe, or I'm sure that they have some stores available. I know that sometimes they have entertainment. So that'll be in the July newsletter. So we're super excited about that.
What date is that, Holly?
Is it going to be the Monday, July
It-
28th?
I think it's the 29th. It's on a Tuesday because we
Tuesday.
can be there longer. Yep, so our
Our mobility accessibility day is Tuesday, July 29th.
It is Tuesday.
too,
All right.
I believe.
Not Monday.
Yep, so that'll be 4 hours at the festival. So the flyer will say what time people should be at the senior center and what time you'll get back. I believe everybody gets back around 4 or 4:30, something like that. But again, it will be completely free. The only expense is if you would choose to purchase like the sunflowers themselves, because I'm sure that there comes a fee with that. And then, as I mentioned, that they have a cafe there, and it is rain or shine, so we won't cancel unless there's an extreme weather event. So we're looking forward.
How far is it actually? Is it over an hour?
I think it's at an hour and 22 minutes. Yep, and we have received much feedback from the visitors at the senior center that say, when something's that long, a bathroom is appreciated. And even when we do our special trips, our van drivers will, make little stops to area places so people can use the restrooms and stuff like that. So we understand that, but we're really looking forward to hoping that we can get a full bus.
How many people will it hold, like 40-some?
So it holds 45. We're saying 30 because I always know that people will come like that last minute and want to do some signups, so we'll extend it a little bit. But we really, again, it's rain or shine, so we're not going to cancel it. So we urge everybody to sign up quick.
Plus,
And it's open to everybody.
does it accommodate wheelchairs?
I
It is
believe that it
ADA.
does.
And so
yes.
that would take up
ADA
seats as
Yeah.
well, yeah.
So that's what I
Great.
have for programs.
The creativity of you and the staff coming up with all these programs is really impressive.
Thank you. We have fun.
Yeah. It's great. All right.
Should we share any of the brainstormed ideas from last time?
Sure,
Or-
if you, yeah, Pamela, go ahead. So
I was so
more-
excited
more
about
on programs.
That's
Well, I was so
Sorry.
excited about the sunflower one, and then, and that was the biggest one. But we did have a meeting after the last board meeting where we brainstormed some ideas. So I think mentioning them out loud is great, because if people are hearing them and they want to call in and say, yes, please make that happen,
Yep.
there's that opportunity. So we had talked about how people loved being able to tour and see the holiday lights but that can be really tricky based on buses. And so we're looking into school buses as a way to be able to tour and see the holiday lights in December and all the houses that are decorated. We talked about creating mixers for seniors, and so we're still brainstorming ideas of what those could be. They don't necessarily need to be at the senior center, but getting people really talking and getting to know one another was one of those great ideas that we came up to. And then I don't even know how to describe the human casino, but we're playing around with some really fun interactive ideas as part of the get to know. And so I will just say, keep that in mind and maybe hear about it soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Human casino.
Human casinos. More
As in, you know,
information.
you spin that, you move the lever, and the people are responding versus the machine. Right? You have now a
Great.
visual image. So you just don't know what's going to come out, you know,
No,
in the
we
fall.
clearly don't. That's great. All right, well, thank you, and who else is involved in that group?
So Holly Casey and I meet, and then there's still a connection with the rec department who's, I don't know if there's an update on the logo and how that's happening, but they're still collaborating with the senior center also to do some programming through their department.
That's great.
Yeah, unfortunately, the recreation can't meet on the days that we meet, so we'll meet with them separately. We are creating a memorandum of understanding with them.
Oh, right, yes.
In addition to that, so basically the relationship with the COA department and the recreation is the COA kind of does all of the legwork, finding the facilitators, coming up with the programs and introducing them to us. We choose what we think that the seniors will enjoy. And then with our the funding opportunities that we have available, we assist the recreation department in being able to move forward with those things. I'm happy to say that last evening I presented at our Way Academy, and what that is all of the departments in the town of Shrewsbury presented to community members what our department does. And one of the things that I talked about with the recreation last evening was our Play on 60 Plus. So having those recreational opportunities available outside of our business hours, whether it is a physical activity or if it's a stationary activity such as sourdough making or anything like that. Those are the brainstorming ideas that we're coming up with recreation. And like I said, it's really important because we can't reach everybody that wants to participate because we have business hours. So the recreation therefore comes in and they utilize the senior center. People are able to come into the senior center. And what my staff and I have been doing that's been working out really well too is knowing when people are coming into the senior center for whatever reason, for not our programs. We like to make sure that we put out like information, our resources, make sure it's, you know, like people can grab it on their way in and grab it on their way out. So it's really nice having this collaboration with them. Being able to utilize the center the way they do and come up with all of these activities, whether they're free, low cost, or sometimes you do have to pay. But the brainstorming, I think, has been a lot of fun.
Fun. Can I add to that? Because this Play on 60, I mean, if you look at the numbers of the age range of who's coming to the senior center, right, you can start coming, that 60 to 64 group, and that number, I assume, will start to rise based on having these programs that are really targeting that younger senior age.
Has the trip to Hampton Beach already happened?
That is tomorrow.
Oh, I know, because I had some friends that wanted to go, and they called right late. I mean, pulled up instantly.
It did, and you know, so these are all great things for us to learn for next year. You know, maybe it's a whole week of the Hampton Beach Casino, or not the casino. We go to the
The
casino so
sand-
often, that's what I want to say.
Sand sculpture.
Yes,
Right.
yep, and we also just learned that Salisbury Beach also has something similar at a different time.
And Revere Beach.
Yep, and one of the things that we are doing moving forward into the new fiscal year is we're changing the way our special trips are a little bit. They are still open to everybody, you're still gonna pay the $10, but from now on, that first of the month, where people can sign up, that first of the month will be for Shrewsbury residents only. And then the second day, if there are seats still available, then those will be opened up to anybody out of town. So we're not restricting people, we're just making it, you know, we want to make sure that the Shrewsbury residents understand that they come first. But we also know that we have many people, as the data shows, that comes from out of town. And we've been Renee and I were talking about this yesterday, the feedback that we're getting on our programs and how much fun people are having, it's like that is just as important as having all of the communities join us.
Now, is that just a small van going to that?
So the small van is the only van that can go out of
So that's a
state.
15?
Yeah, so no, it's actually at 8.
Oh, no wonder it filled up.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's 8.
But next year, right?
So next year, so in FY '26, December sometime probably, we'll hopefully be able to acquire our other van. So it'll be outright, it'll be owned by us, and we can use that vehicle. And that one does sit 15, so we can take that one out of state.
I'll report back.
And people stand outside the door, 7:30.
Oh, it's
Or
7:12.
earlier. Yeah.
7:12, there was a line of like, already a couple of
Right.
people by the time they came in. And it was funny, because somebody commented like, don't you have one of those meat numbers that you can give us? You know?
Deli
Like the
department.
deli
Yeah.
tickets.
You could do that and then turn it into a raffle
They did have,
Actually, that's not a bad idea, too.
they had to stand there quite a while,
Yeah,
too.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, I mean, I think that's a testament to the trips that we're offering, so that's
Definitely.
really good.
Great. All right. Anything else under programs?
I don't think so.
If not, transportation, outreach, and data.
Sure, so we talked a little bit about the data already. One of the things that I do want to talk about is, so we do have an agreement with the Shrewsbury Housing Authority where we offer free transportation to them utilizing the WRTA vans. And just yesterday, we were able to meet myself, Renee, and Cynthia Willis, Transportation Coordinator, with Kelly Bergeron from the Housing Authority. And basically, what we wanted to do was really talk to her about, you know, what does she think more that we can do for specifically those clients that live within the Housing Authority, whether it be outreach, transportation. So what we have asked her to do was provide us with the demographics of the people that live there. We want to know how many men, how many women. Are they living alone? Are they with couples? Do they have pets? Because this will enable us to provide outreach opportunities, programs to them, catered to exactly who is living there. One of the things that we came up with yesterday was potentially having an end of summer kind of barbecue where we put on the barbecue, but Renee and Cynthia are there, myself, and really kind of talking about the services that we offer at the senior center. There are 270 people that live within the Housing Authority, if not more. And I want to, although we won't reach them all, but it's more about engaging, making sure that they feel heard, making sure that they feel safe, and really supporting the work that Kelly and the rest of her staff is doing over there. So Cynthia will, as she always does, every single month, she goes down to each one of the housing authorities. She shares our newsletters. She told us yesterday that she even did, a couple of months ago, a door-to-door, where she was putting newsletters under doors, and there's 270 doors. So, you know, she has been doing just fantastic, fantastic outreach work with the transportation, and it shows in the numbers and it shows in the responses that we've received. So kudos to Cynthia on her almost 28th year with the town of Shrewsbury. So she has not lost her pep at all.
Okay, any other comments? Nutrition, food pantry you've touched on.
Yeah, so really, we have the last number to date, I believe Jennifer gave me, was 117 households are currently utilizing the food pantry.
I pulled them today,
Well-
123.
123 households. So again, just to tell people at home, a household, as long as it's a Shrewsbury household, and as long as there's a Shrewsbury senior, 60-plus, living in that household, that family, no matter how many people are in it, can come and utilize the food pantry. So those numbers are extraordinary. And I give Jennifer and Renee just a tremendous amount of applause for getting the word out. And I really want to applaud the community for all of the amazing donations every month. You know, you can see it in the newsletter. I'm thanking all of the businesses that in town that are helping, but it's like the students that are helping, the parents that are helping. And we've hardly had to utilize any of our funds to put anything into the food pantry because of that. So it's just super, super successful. We've even received a couple of calls from people from different towns wanting to know how did we establish this. It's just very rewarding. And just as a reminder for people also watching, we have the community refrigerator outside. Even though that was created by the Shrewsbury Rotary Club, we make sure that, you know, we do our best to kind of keep an eye on it, make sure it stays clean, make sure that, you know, there's no issues going on with that. But there are a plethora of resources that Renee can offer to people who might be fighting food insecurity, and we're looking to grow that into more learning how to budget, learning how to, if you have limited funds, how to go to the market, be able to shop healthy and be able to utilize your money. One of the things we also talked about was being able to learn how to freeze fresh fruits and vegetables for the summer, for the winter time and stuff like that too, because we're going to get an abundance in the next couple of weeks from our partners from Gleaners in Acton. And instead of kind of dispersing it all over the place, what we want to do is take that extra and teach people how to properly clean it, store it, keep it, utilize it for the winters. So we have a lot of good ideas that come along with just opening the doors.
Nice. And would you repeat again when the hours are? I know they're always in the newsletter, but there are 2 days and a range of
Tuesdays
hours.
and Wednesdays from 9:30 to 2 by appointment.
Nice.
And if you're signing up for the food pantry, the first registration is with me, because I like to go over benefits and services to see what people qualify for. And a lot of times I can save people a lot of money, not when they don't know what benefits that they qualify for. Especially the Medicare Savings Program has been really huge since they removed the asset requirement. That program pays for a senior on Social Security their Medicare Part B premium, which is $180 a month that can save you
Incredible.
if you qualify for that program. So there are things out there that can help people, so.
And I do believe that we will still be receiving the farmers market coupons, but they usually don't come until like mid-July, and we get those from the Elder Services of Worcester.
They
And I-
came in August last year, I
Was it
believe.
August?
Yeah.
And I do believe that I read somewhere that the amount of the coupons went down again.
Yeah.
Um,
It went up to $50 and then it went back down to 25.
Yep. And there are eligibility requirements for that, and we usually get anywhere from 20 to 25. So, but we don't have them yet, and as you mentioned, so we get them a little late, but we do get them, so people should keep an eye out for that. We don't normally put it in the newsletter because we don't know in time when we get that, so people
Yeah.
should just call.
Yeah, and actually the last couple of years, I've been making calls to people who I know could use them and would use them, you know, yeah.
Great. That cover nutrition?
Yep.
New business? Old business?
So just a reminder that we're not meeting in July, so everybody should have like really fun time. Hopefully.
Wednesday morning party. Holly's office. Okay, well, that being the case, next meeting then is August 13th, Wednesday, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second. Couple
Great.
seconds,
Yep.
and those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, everyone. Good
Thank
meeting.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.